Hello again, everyone. It's Todd Staruch, the horror nerd, here at NJHorrorCon and Film Festival at the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We are rocking and rolling here on Saturday at the convention, and this is a thrill for me, being a fan of indie horror and a big fan of the movie that I'm about to introduce. So it gives me great pleasure to be sitting here with some of the cast and crew of the hit indie horror film Terrifier and the soon-to-be-released Terrifier 2. Gentlemen, why don't we go down the line here and just have you introduce yourselves?
Phil Falcone.
David Howard Thornton.
Yeah, but what do you do?
I pick up where Damien leaves off.
I'm Art the Clown.
Damien Leone, writer-director. And this is Phil Falcone, the producer of Terrifier 1 and 2. This is the head honcho, the man without whom none of this would exist. And that's the truth.
I have to disagree. I'll take some credit, but Damien is the man. Nothing happens without him. I'm not going to go into it deep because I'm sure it's going to come up through here, but oh boy, Damien's the man.
Oh boy.
I'll pay you later.
I noticed throughout the convention all day today, you've had a long line of fans here. You've been very busy. I myself enjoyed the film Terrifier very much. You are creepy as fuck. I just, can't.
Thank you.
So obviously everybody makes a film expecting it to be successful. But did you have any idea of the wild success that the film has you enjoyed with the film?
I was not expecting this kind of this. We were a small, low-budget independent film. We were trying to be honest with ourselves. We thought we had something really cool, but there's so many talented movie makers out there as well. And when you're competing with Hollywood, you don't know. And so we thought we had something fun, but we didn't expect the kind of reaction we've gotten from the fans. It exploded on us, and we're still trying to let it all sink in. I think even a few years later.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty surreal. That's whenever anybody asks me, I got asked that question a lot. Like, what do you think? You have this really long line here and everybody's talking about your clown. I'm like, it doesn't really sink in. It's amazing. But it really is a dream come true, and we're so grateful. We don't take any of it for granted, we just want to and when we see that, that's when we really want to make part 2 the best thing it could be, because we do not want to let these fans down.
Well, I have no doubt that it's going to be good. So now the idea for Art the Clown was born out of a short film.
Correct?
Yeah. So why don't you just go into a little bit about the genesis of all of this?
So it was my first, I call it my first official short film, because I'd been making little JVC camcorder movies my entire life. And this was after I got out of high school. I was like, it's time to make a serious short film that I could showcase my special effects, me as a director. So it was wasn't really story driven. It was more about just horrific visuals and a showcase of my special effects. So I just knew I was going to pack it out with demons and monsters and witches, and I always had this idea for a killer clown terrorizing a woman on a city bus. I won't go into all the details, but if you see All Hallows Eve, it's the first story on the videotape is the short film. So I would show people that, and everybody's like, "Oh, your makeup's cool. It's really creepy," but that clown is insane. Like, he looks so cool. He's so creepy. I would love to see more with that clown, and I got that note across the board. So then I was like, all right, the only next logical thing to do is make a short film that focuses solely on Art the Clown, and that was the short film Terrifier. And then it just word of mouth spread even more after that, and people wanted to see even more. And then I said, okay, now we have to make a feature, and it just kept growing like that. I mean, it's growing like that now. Every day, there's new fans, and every time we do something else, his fan base grows a little more. So I listen to people, I listen to the fans, I listen to the consensus, and then I just try and deliver and make it better, even better.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, David, next question is for you.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of clowns in the world. I'll just say that honestly. Art is obviously very scary and very creepy. Even though you're in makeup, how do you get yourself into that headspace of playing a creep and a character that commits obviously horrific violence?
Right. Well, luckily for, I guess, everybody on set, I don't stay in character the whole entire time. I don't do the whole method actor thing. I think I would not survive. I think everybody would want to kill me. But my thing is, I've always been like this as an actor. As soon as I understand the character in my head, I can always just turn it on, turn it off. So I kind of based art on a lot of the great horror icons. I see him as a little bit of every single slasher villain that came before me. And also, I blended that with my love of great physical comedians from back in the day, all the way through like Mr. Bean or Doug Jones and Jim Carrey. And I just kind of blended all that together. I kind of look at, I always say to myself that art is basically the bastard child of Freddy Krueger and Harpo Marx.
Wow.
And,
okay.
yeah. And so that's what I keep in my head. And he's just pure evil, but has fun with it. And that's what I just keep in my head the whole entire time, so I can just bring that back when I need to. So it's probably weird for my co-stars where 1 second I'm choking them out or stabbing them, and they say cut. I'm like, are you okay? I didn't hurt you. Okay. Then stab again. It's just, it's fun though. It's fun.
Yeah, the villains, I'm a big fan of villains in any movie, whether it's comic book or horror. The villains are always a lot cooler. That's for my
always
money.
So much cooler. I think I've always loved playing villains because I think they have the more interesting stories. Because what's made these people go that path in life? What motivates them to do what they do? And you have those villains that don't even realize they're the villains. But then you have villains like Art, who know they are the villain and they love it. And that's what I love about Art. He loves what he does.
That's awesome. And just a quick follow-up to that. So now the shooting day is over, how do you kind of get out of that mindset and go home? Or does that ever kind of linger with you now when you go home for the day? Or are you able to just say, oh, okay, I'm done?
Yeah, I can easily just turn it off. It's just, I mean, at first it might have been there, but like part two, I know the character so well, I can just turn it on, turn it off like a switch. So it's usually at the end of the day, I'm so tired anyway, so I'm just happy to get out of the makeup. I'm just like, get it off of me. I want to go to bed.
I totally hear that. So, Phil, I have a question for you. What is it like bringing this cast and crew together and wrangling all of this, one? And number two, I followed along your crowdfunding campaign for Terrifier 2, and it went bananas, right? So did you ever expect in your wildest dreams that you'd raise as much money as you did, given what your original goal was?
Okay, so first off, you got to realize I'm getting a little older. You did a two-part question. I already forgot the first part.
Well, so then we'll stick with the crowdfunding.
All right. So the crowdfunding, I just want to say, we were expecting a lot more. I'm a little disappointed. We're thinking about opening it up again. No, I mean...
Have you thought of a career in stand-up comedy? I'm just curious.
Crowdfunding went amazing. First of all, Damien will tell you, I'm not a horror person, so I did not know the field. I didn't realize how big this could be until our first... I think it was a con that I went to in Arizona, and I saw the crowds, and I started asking them some questions. You got to remember, I grew up on the original Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, and enjoyed them. Halloween, the first one that came out, enjoyed it. Jaws, enjoyed it. After that, I started to I will never go to bed after watching a horror film. It creeps into my dreams. I listen to only comedies at night, but so when we did the crowdfunding, it went amazing. And thank you all for your support. We love it, and I think we delivered. I really do. We really went crazy. I mean, I was supposed to be in bed, and I was out there doing it. So, yeah, it's. I think everybody's going to be excited about what they see. Damien did let me tell you something. He'd come to me and say, "We got to do this," and I'd go, "You crazy? We don't have the money for that." And I'd say, what does it entail? And he'd tell me, I go, we could do that. so we you know, I think people are going to be happy. This one has a story. I think fans are going to be very happy because he'll tell you. I always say, horror films, mind-numbingly dumb. But I tell you, he really pulled it out. I give this kid a lot of credit. Well, I call him a kid. This young man, a lot of credit. I love him. You can't say enough. Now, what was the first part?
You know what? Now I don't even remember.
All right, so let's move on.
So we'll move on.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. The cast and crew. The cast and crew.
Yeah, so how'd you manage to bring this talented group of people together?
I'm going to say, listen, I always give creative to Damien, but we do discuss. And like he would say, let's do this, let's bring him on, let's do this. And I'd say, of course, too much money, can't do it. But if we could, we did. We brought in a good crew. I love them all. They are great. I ask a lot of people. They are all replaceable. He's bringing that up because in Terrifier 1, we had issues the first night of shooting, and I said, fire him. And he goes, fire him. We got to rehire. So everybody's replaceable. And George on TV came to his back and said, he's irreplaceable. I said, he said he's irreplaceable? Fire him too. So that's where I stand. Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. So when can we expect Terrifier 2?
So we wanted to have it out we were hoping to have it out by this October, but the post-production has just been too tough. I mean, it's a really big film if you've been following it. I've told people that right now this cut is over 2 hours long. It's almost double the length of the first movie. So in essence, I'm cutting 2 films right now and all that sound design and color correction, and it's just taking a lot of time. And we've already worked on this movie for over 2 years.
Sure.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into this movie. So as bad as we want it out immediately, it's like I can't just rush it for the sake of rushing it, and it just has to be.
Sure.
It's never going to be perfect. No movie's ever perfect. At some point, you got to walk away and abandon it. But it's got to be perfect for me to say, like, all right, I'm happy with this now, because people are going to judge me on it for the rest of my life. Everything that goes bad, they're going to, so it's tough. So I want to just make sure it's as good as it can be. But I would say right now, early next year, like very early as possible, we're going to try and get it out. Because right now it is cut. You can watch the movie, but it's just being polished. And
got it.
Yeah.
Yep, totally got it.
Next week.
We got him.
Well, you better get to work, so...
Ooh.
Uh-oh. So, speaking of blood, I'm guessing we can expect to see a lot of your featured effects again in this film?
There will be a lot of blood. There is so much blood. Actually, it's weird. I like to say COVID was kind of a blessing in some ways, because yes, to us, not everybody else. But because we were almost wrapped when COVID hit. We had like 2 more big kill scenes to do, and we're like, oh no. But that gave us time to actually flesh out what we originally planned to do for those kill scenes, and we had the time to actually really build the prosthetics we needed for them, and we expanded further on them. And so, like, there's one kill scene that's in the movie, which I think might surpass the infamous hacksaw scene. Took us about 5 days to film.
Wow.
Because there are just so many elements and prosthetics involved in it. It is crazy. We threw everything we had. It was like, you know what? Why don't we just go for it? Go for it. And, like, we'll see what happens. And so, we'll see.
That sounds awesome, guys. I am looking forward to it. I'm sure all the fans out there are as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the cast and crew here of Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Damien, David, Phil, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time.
Thank you.
I enjoy all the success, and I wish you success with the next film. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you,
So we'll
buddy.
look forward to that next year.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Cast and crew of Terrifier, everybody here at New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival in Atlantic City. I am the horror nerd, Todd Staruch, signing off, and we will see all of you in the next interview.